Welcome back. 412-575-2600 on the Bordas & Bordas hotline. That is the number to call me and Chris Mueller here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Chris, we talked about the Penguins and Rangers. They go to Game 7. That will be Monday night in Madison Square Garden. We got a lot of phone calls about Penn, so let's just rip off the Band-Aid. We got Ed in Kennedy Township. Ed, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Yeah, you know what? When Crosby went out, the Penguins should have went after Chris Kreider. Double M over on the X always talks about this. You take out their best player, not the dude or anybody else, you're risking a 5-minute major, but it's an equal subtraction. Kreider is actually producing more than Crosby is in his playoffs. So Kreider should have been taken out. Even if Sully doesn't like it, that's something that should be done by the players without the coach telling them.
And I understand the sentiment
or you
of
could
it.
just have the officials call the penalty here, and they worked Jacob Trouba over for multiple goals while he was on the ice tonight. He got absolutely clowned. Like, this Old Testament justice, what does it do? Does it bring Sidney Crosby back?
Nope.
I mean, even the penalty getting called, does it bring Sidney Crosby back?
Nope.
No, which is why the nature of hockey in the playoffs is guys will always take runs at stars because the punishment will never, ever, 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 ever fit the crime. And if it's an unskilled laborer, relatively speaking, I know Trouba's one of their 4 best defensemen, they'll make that trade every single day.
Not to mention the fact, by doing that, you're giving the Rangers another power play, and they were 2 for 3 on the power play tonight. Pens were 0 for 3. That might have been a big difference in this game, and that's considering the fact that one of those power play goals.
Josh, are you allowed to shoot when you have a 5-on-3, or do you have to try to make it look as? Do you have to make that process look as painful as humanly possible? Listen. I used to sit, or my seats are still technically in the 200 level. I used to sit in the literal, my wife and I would sit in the top row of PPG Paints Arena. It was actually quite nice.
Wow.
And the top row crowd, the upper deck crowd always gets crap from people. Stop yelling that they need to shoot the puck. They know what they're doing. You don't, blah, blah. Shoot the puck! When it's a 5-on-3, shoot the puck. We're all begging you. We're begging you.
Our 2 producers, Jared Barton and Steve Benko, they can attest to this. There was a point during that 5-on-3 when I actually said out loud, you are still on the power play, right? You are. They're not. That's what it
didn't look like they were. It did not look like they were.
Right.
There were points in time where you had Malkin peeling back, they said, because he didn't want. There was a point in time where Malkin peels back, doesn't want him to go on a shorthanded breakaway. It's like, what are we doing here? And sorry, Steve. Sorry, Jared. I just yelled into the microphone really loud, but they make me really angry.
It's worth mentioning. We got Larry in Masontown. Larry, how you doing?
Okay, how you guys?
Good. How are you?
Okay, thanks for taking the call first time.
All right, appreciate you.
Yeah, I was just calling about the Bills. Like I said, on that 5-3 power play, not one shot. They've done this before.
A lot.
Well, they did it in Game 5. They did it in Game 5. That's why it seems so fresh. And what drives me nuts is they've got like all this skill, right? This world-class skill. Even guys that are in their mid-30s. You see other teams like the Rangers. The Rangers are great on the power play. Like, I'm not taking away anything from Fox or Kreider. Those guys are great skilled players too. But the Penguins have like historic skill. Guys who are going to be all-time greats. Crosby, when he's healthy, top 5 all-time player. They look like they're trying to solve a Rubik's Cube. You've got a 2-man advantage. Use it. And yet they sit there and pass it around the perimeter with what intent I can't figure out. Other teams get them in just 5-on-4 regular power plays and break them down like it's nothing. I mean, I know this is nothing new because I know people have been complaining about this since time immemorial with this team.
Oh, man.
But they are embarrassing in those situations. They are embarrassing when it's 5-on-3.
It is. It's frustrating. And I don't know if this, and I know they've been asked about this in the past, and they've never really given a concrete answer. I can't tell if it's them just waiting for the perfect opportunity to shoot, if they're just looking for the perfect pass.
That's what it is.
But it feels that way. It feels like they're just looking for the perfect opportunity, and that perfect opportunity never comes. Instead of just doing the thing that beats the goaltender you're facing, which is just putting pucks on net. That's the thing they did in the first 4 games of this series and won 3 of those 4. And matter of fact, they scored a whole bunch of goals on that guy on home ice by doing just that. Tim in Pittsburgh, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
finally, I mean, their power play is ridiculous. They can't score on the power play, and that is the big difference in the series. Not the goalies. Dominguez playing okay for them to win.
No, he's terrible. No, Tim, he's awful. Tim, he's been awful. He was great in Game 1 in relief. He is hideous. He is a minor league goaltender. An ECHL goalie would have had that second stop. I'm sorry. He is a minor league and lower level minor league goaltender. You know, Shesterkin hasn't been bathing himself in glory by his own standards because he's going to win the Vezina and he's a Hart finalist. Do you want to know the difference in this game? In the third period, when the Penguins, when it was 3-3, had the better quality of the chances, Shesterkin made huge saves. He did. That's inarguable. Who got hit in the head with a puck that fluttered right over his head? Or not even, what? He did the awkward, like, whatever he's doing there with the double blocker look. Louis Domingue, buddy. I mean, that's the difference. I'm sorry, Tim. I hate being snappy like that. Actually, I don't. I love it. Louis Domingue was the problem and has been.
Got a question about the power play from Mike on Twitter. He says, does Mike Sullivan get fired if they lose this series? The power play has been awful since he's taken over. They need to be defensive-minded first. And he suggests maybe Barry Trotz as a possible replacement.
No, Mike Sullivan's one of the best coaches in the league. I mean, listen, I just got done saying they're on a goalie right now who probably should be in the low, back up in the AHL maybe. The best player in the world still, I think by a lot of measures, is out with a concussion.
Yeah.
Raquel is out. Dumoulin's out, the guy that makes their defense pairings a lot steadier.
Agreed.
Even though he hasn't been great this year. I mean, they're the walking wounded. It's in some ways, Josh, and maybe you disagree, I think it's almost a miracle that they're going to see Game 7. I know they're up 3-1, but it's kind of insane that they got to that place in the first place.
It did feel like the first 4 games of this series were just completely off script. Granted, they did the things that we thought they needed to do, but then on the other side of it, the other 3 games were probably filled with things that we expected them to do on the bad side of things. And we also wondered if having a third-string goaltender would eventually come back to bite them. And by Game 6, it's starting to do just that. We started to see the signs in Game 5. This series has gone on longer. He's starting to get more and more exposed, and maybe the law of averages is starting to reveal itself. Sean in Oakmont, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Yeah, how you doing?
How you doing, Sean?
Pretty good. No, I don't know. I think Domingue didn't play that bad of a game. He gave up one weak one, but, I mean, I remember watching in 90, 91, 92. That was Barrasso's game card. Shoot from the key. It's a goal. He couldn't see it.
I can't.
Barrasso,
I can't.
Domingue's, the 4th goal Domingue gave up, the game winner, is the worst Penguins playoff goal I've seen given up since Barrasso gave one up to Tom Fitzgerald in, 96?
That'll be about there.
What I don't understand about what people are saying here trying to defend Domingue, so that's 2 now. That's Sean and Tim.
Yep.
The second goal of the game was a horrible goal. Like, I know Zibanejad got all of it, and he's a really good player. That wasn't really a screen. That was just a low shot that Domingue should be able to stop. I don't know what else to say. Maybe I'm living in an alternate universe. I thought the last 3 Rangers goals, to varying degrees, they were like 3 bowls of porridge. The third goal was the most forgivable, but still not very. It was a great pass by Shesterkin.
It was.
The second goal of the game for them was less forgivable. And the fourth goal, my brother-in-law used to play Baldwin inline, like high-level roller hockey, and he was their goalie, and they won some little inline roller championships. If my brother-in-law had given up that fourth goal, I would have said to him after the game, buddy, what were you doing there? That's terrible. And he would have agreed with me. That's how bad it was.
We managed to stick in Baldwin inline hockey. Shout out to Baldwin inline hockey. Might as well throw that in there. Got to take another break. We got more calls, more tweets when we come back. Stick around.